Now you should be able to.
There we go. We are all set.
Perfect. Thank you, Darby. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the October 12th Pullman Police Advisory Committee. I am Stephanie Rink, the chair. We will get ready to go with attendance. However, Darby, do you feel comfortable being able to take the attendance via everybody's name on their Zoom?
Yeah, I think I have everyone accounted for except the 2 callers. So if those are Police Advisory Committee members, I do need to know who we have on the phone.
This is Nathan Dean. I'm on the phone.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi.
And the other caller?
I'm not a member. This is Fraternity and Sorority Life at Washington State.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome. All right, we will move forward with our approval of the minutes. So for July 13th, the 2020 meeting, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
And second? Wonderful. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You need to signal by raising your hand on this call as well. Any opposed? All right, and then the August 10th minutes, do we have a motion?
One quick note on those. I did get a note from Jaya that she was not accounted for, but she did attend, so I will edit to add her to the attendance on that.
Perfect. Thank you, Darby. Any other edits? And a motion? And a second? Perfect. All in favor? All right, thank you. Any opposed? Wonderful, thank you. All right, we will move up to membership updates. So we do have several vacancies. Darby, do we have anybody that has submitted applications?
I have not seen any new applications unless there's something waiting in my mailbox, but I checked it last week and we did not have any. I can do a push on social media though and let people know we have vacancies.
That would be great. So it shows that we have a vacancy for Pioneer Hill, both, alternate for the WC faculty and staff, College Hill, Pioneer Hill, Military Hill, Business Community. And if we do need some for GPSA, the Black faculty and staff, and Black men making a difference as well, and Pullman School District. Anything else on that, Darby?
Nope.
All right, so our big topic today is the Reimagining Public Safety in Pullman Summit. So that it will be November 9th. That does take place from our regular scheduled meeting. So we are expecting everyone to be in attendance as this does take place of our meeting. A couple notes on that. We have a subcommittee that is working quite hard on this with both the Pullman Police Advisory Committee, but also the WSU Police Advisory Group. And registrations are at 103 at the moment. So we are doing fantastic. We have a group of students who are working hard on a lot of our marketing, and they are getting us information this week for social media, for any emails, and also creating our flyer for like our presentation that we're going to have when people join the meeting. So that's going great. One of the things that we do need is we need volunteers for the moderation of the breakout rooms. So depending on how many people sign up for each room, right now we have 12 different breakout rooms assigned for when you register. So depending on how many people are in each one, we might need a complete total of 12, or we will adjust and move groups together depending on the numbers. But we will need a few other volunteers. Right now, I have signed up for moderation. I have David, Krista, Nathan, Angie, Megan Parks, Matthew from the WSU Police Advisory Group, Eric, and Kenitra.
Jaya and Craig also reached out and said they would be willing to do that.
Perfect. Any others wish to do a moderation? And for our 2 high school student committee members, you are able to moderate. We do provide training. You can do one together or by yourself.
I could do it.
You want to join? Okay, perfect. That's great.
But I mean, I have the complete faith and trust and confidence, but I assume we would pair them with an adult.
Yes, I'm not going to leave them stranded.
Yeah, she didn't want me to say that, but I figured I'd at least put it out there so she knows that it would not be just her and Gwen. So, see, I just volunteered Gwen as well. So but yeah, so be paired with an adult. So,
Yes. Yeah, and it will be really good for you to, you know, if you are open to represent for the Pullman schools for you. So that would be really good. And we will make sure that you are paired with somebody who can help with any questions or additional moderation if it is needed for that. But everybody who does sign up for the moderation, you will be invited to 2 different training sessions that we will run to help you with any of the Zoom breakout rooms, information chat, but also really to how to moderate the meetings. And we have some lead questions as well to provide you that the committee is working on. But any others would like to volunteer?
I could try.
Okay, any questions about the summit or any comments from our subcommittee?
I don't know. This is Kenitra. I'm scared to turn my camera on because I keep getting kicked out. I'm still trying to work out that piece. But I am really excited about the way this is turning out. It has been a personal journey. I think that all of those who care to get involved will also find themselves exploring some personal connections that they have with this topic. And so I'm excited, and I would just encourage everyone, if you are scared to moderate, which I am, or scared to participate in another way, to really extend yourself and really figure out about yourself and give to this community. So thank you, Stephanie, for leading this, and you too, Chief Jenkins. Thank you.
Well, and thank you to our entire subcommittee. And Kenitra, thank you for taking that risk and really putting yourself out there for the moderation. It will be great. And we will take good care of everyone during the training sessions so that you feel confident in those moderations. But our summit is going great. Again, we have 103 registered, and that is just with really a couple pushes for media. So it went out on the police department, social media. It also went to all of faculty, staff, and students, I think, but all for Pullman, in Pullman, through their email. We're putting it through the Insider, and then our marketing, our students in one of their classes, I can't remember which class it was, I apologize, but they're working on the marketing, and they're going to do some more social media postings, some emails to their student groups, and sending us some information as well that we can send out via social media also. Any other comments or questions about our summit?
I do. Hey, Stephanie.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Krista. I was just wondering, how many do we have? How many moderators do we have?
So right now we are at 11.
I'm happy to help out and be a moderator. I'm not on the board, but this is Megan. I work in fraternity and sorority life at Washington State. I'm happy to help out because I registered to attend. So if I can help, I'd be happy to.
Wonderful. If you can send me an email, that would be great.
Stephanie,
Yeah, I'll do that now.
and I can do it too, Stephanie.
Okay, thanks, Barbara. And mostly the moderating will be just really helping with any questions. So the subcommittee is working on questions to help get the conversations flowing. Working on keeping that conversation going, making sure that it remains a safe place in those meeting rooms. So helping with if we need to mute anybody or talk about some just general housekeeping on keeping it a safe place, but also taking some notes so we have the action items coming out of those different rooms. All right, well, if there is nothing else on the summit, we will turn this over to Chief Jenkins for our police department update.
All right. So hopefully my computer will make it through. I closed everything down that I could, except for my notes and the camera. So we are going through our budget process for two-year budget 2021 and 2022. Our budget, the police department budget, well, all the city department budgets have already been through a process with the finance director and city administrator and mayor. And so the next steps would be going essentially to city council with our proposals. So I'm fairly confident that what I have now in my budget is going to make it through the rest of the process. The highlights of it, first of all, are that, so right now we have 4 vacancies in the police department. We are working to hire one of those vacancies, and we are going to temporarily at least maintain 3 of those vacancies just until we can see what our trajectory is going to be as far as city revenues as we progress into the next year or so from COVID-19. So we don't want to overcommit ourselves and then have to lay someone off after we hire them. So we're going to hold on to those vacancies with the idea that once we have a better financial picture, that we fill those positions. But the really good news is that we're able to refund everything else that we had to cut during this year because of COVID-19. And that includes all of our training and some of the equipment that we've cut, including some training equipment. So that's really good news. And so I'm really, other than those 3 vacancies, which, we can deal with. And actually, those 3 vacancies are additional positions that City Council added a year ago that we've never filled. So it's not like we're going to be down positions from what we were before. We just aren't able to add those 3 additional positions. So I'm really happy with this budget. I think it puts us in a really good position, and then we have the opportunity potentially to add those 3 positions later on. So Joseph Guile, he graduated from the Academy September 11th. So he is in our field training program right now, and he's doing well. And then we have another officer that is in the academy. The academy reopened after having been shut down to COVID-19. He started July 28th, and he'll be graduating November 20th. Usually the chiefs will go to the graduations and be part of the ceremony. And however, post COVID-19, it's all virtual. So only the academy graduates are there, not even their families are there. So we just watch and congratulate them virtually. And then we do bring, once they come back to the police department, we do have a very limited attended ceremony where we do their oath of office, and Darby streams that live on Facebook. And so we do recognize them at that point. So they do have a recruitment process for positions, which we're attempting to, we have some lateral applicants, meaning they're police officers already somewhere else, either in Washington or another state. And so if we're able to hire a lateral, we don't have to send them through the police academy. They just go through, if they're coming from another state, then they go through a 2-week, what's called an equivalency academy to learn Washington laws. And if they're a Washington officer, then we can put them right into our field training program. And so we can skip over the 720 hours of academy time for them because they've already been through it. So that's what we're working on hiring wise. We're still fully staffed in records and in all of our other positions. So we're continuing on our nuisance party enforcement with regard to parties that are being held with proclamation violations. Ever since we started the enforcement, I think I've reported on this before, we've been seeing a regular decline in the amount of violations that we're having to issue infractions for. And the last few weekends, one weekend we issued one infraction, another weekend we didn't issue any. However, this most recent weekend, we did issue infractions at 2 parties. One of the parties, there were 4 tickets issued to 4 co-hosts. 3 of them had previously been issued infractions as well. And that party had more than 40 people at it. So that's not so good news, but in this whole scheme of things and looking at compliance overall, there's still a great amount of compliance going on. So I think we're still looking good there. And today, the health department, the county health department reported over the weekend 55 new cases, including 1 additional death. So we have 2 deaths in Whitman County now, and a fair number over the weekend. But I think Troy Henderson, our public health director, is I think he's happy with the trend of the numbers that we're seeing. So 55 over 3 days on a weekend isn't too bad. We'll see what this next week looks like. The governor did come to Pullman, excuse me, on September 10th, and it was a meeting that was not open to the public, but I was invited along with Mayor Johnson. And of course, Kirk Schultz was there. There were representatives from leaders of WSU student groups, Ed Schweitzer, Troy Henderson, and then Scott Adams from Pullman Regional Hospital. Were all there, and the governor wanted to hear what we were doing in Pullman, since we were one of the first communities that had a university open up and have students come back, and kind of wanted to learn, get some lessons learned from us for the rest of the state. And as a result of that, I was invited to take part in an online meeting with all of the university and college, 4-year college presidents statewide and police chiefs of those communities to talk about what we're doing here in Pullman. Let's see. On September 15th, I was invited to give a presentation for the Whitman County Association of Realtors. Thanks to Krista for that invitation. So it was good to connect with them. They're a good community partner for us. On September 15th also, Dr. Macon and I, along with Officer St. Andre, participated in the WSU Common Reading panel titled Conversation on Community-Focused Policing. I think that was really, I've heard that was well received. It's kind of hard to tell when you're online without a live audience, but I saw some feedback and I think it was well received. So it was a really interesting presentation by all 3 of us. And on September 17th, we conducted an emergency exercise at Pullman Moscow Regional Airport. The airport is required by FAA to do an emergency exercise every year. They can all be tabletop exercises for 2 of the years, but every 3rd year they have to do what's called a full-scale exercise involving role players and meet certain criteria for the FAA. So we put that together for the airport, and we did a simulated plane takeover at when it was a plane parked at the airport. Armed individual, so we activated SWAT, and SWAT responded and handled the incident. And so we worked with our regional SWAT team, Pullman PD, Moscow PD, the airport EMTs, and then rural fire EMT staff, and Alaska Airlines and airport personnel. So really good. We typically, when we do those, we typically do some type of a accident type of an event, like an airplane accident. So this was a very different type of an exercise, but a very realistic potential for the airport beyond an accident. So it was really good to have everybody work together on that. And that's all. Oh, hold on. So I think tomorrow, I think is the date I have on the news release. We're going to be issuing a news release on about Halloween. I did contact Troy Henderson at Department of Health and asked for his advice and recommendations. So we'll be issuing a news release where we are going to be discouraging door-to-door trick-or-treating. But if people choose to go door-to-door, we're providing some advice and suggestions on how to do that safely for both the trick-or-treaters and people that want to hand out candy. And then we're also offering suggestions for alternative activities for people who don't go trick-or-treating. So look for that coming out. I think that comes out tomorrow. And then on October, this is I think a couple weeks away, October 21st, our insurance carrier is Washington City's Insurance Authority, and they provide training and different resources for cities on mitigating risk. So I was invited to be on a panel discussion on how law enforcement and human resources can partner to reduce risk. So, and I don't know if that's a compliment or not. It could be that we've been involved in some issues that we have some experience at that. So, so that'll be a good panel discussion. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you, Chief Jenkins. Does anybody have any questions? All right. Well, I was worried about Halloween. I love Halloween. So hopefully some kiddos get participate, but safely. All right, we'll move on to our constituencies poll. So I'm just going to go down the list, and if your poll is here, if you could please just unmute and let us know what is happening in your area. So we will start with WSU faculty and staff.
Hello. So WSU, I think everybody's probably seen our COVID numbers and what's happening there. We have lots of testing sites on campus and encouraging students to test, and now we've expanded that to faculty staff right now. So if anybody is interested in the COVID response at WSU, you can just Google their website. That's great website, and we will be making an official announcement on what happens with next semester soon. So just kind of watch the web for those. That's it.
Thank you. College Hill.
I don't really have anything to report since it's been mostly colder and rainier. Students are less congregating outside, and parking is a breeze, and so it's all good.
That's great, Barbara, thank you. We do not have anybody on Pioneer Hill, so I will go to Military Hill.
Hi, this is Jaya from Military Hill, and I don't have anything to report.
All right, thank you. Sunnyside Hill, do we have anybody here? I don't see anybody. Our business community, Eric.
Hi. Yeah, I don't really have anything to report, so.
All right, thank you. Multicultural.
Nothing to report beyond excitement for the summit. So I'm hearing a lot of folks are very interested in bringing their voices. So yeah, I'm glad to see we have moderators. I mean, that's so important. So it's good.
Wonderful. ASWSU.
Yeah, nothing really to report on. Obviously, like Chief Jenkins was saying with the parties, at least, being a student up there, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are having parties, and a lot of students are really following the guidelines, which is encouraging. And then, yeah, a lot of students are getting tested, which is good as well.
Thank you, Alex. So we don't have Joe from the Pullman School District. Myself for the Pullman School District parent. I will just say from a parent's perspective, my two children are in high school and it is going much better in the spring. Our students and I think our teachers are much more engaged this year, and it's going fairly well as it can be over virtual. And I'm hoping that by spring we possibly can be back in person. I do know that they are looking at starting with K through 1, depending on the case count over a 2-week period, and then moving up as if it gets better. So hopefully in the near future we'll hear some good news that our kids will go back to in-person school. All right, and then we will go to our Pullman High School student. Who would like to speak up?
There's nothing to report from my where I am at school. Aside from nothing. I think Gwen might have something, I don't know.
All right, thank you, Isabella. Gwendolyn, would you like to say anything?
There's not really too much report. Friends will get together, but not like parties like the college people do. But ASB just finalized their exec council, and soon the class reps will start applying to be a class rep. So other than that, nothing to report.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. Pullman at large, Krista.
Yeah, as Chief Jenkins said, he to the Whitman County Association of Realtors meeting. It's hard to believe that was September 15th. It seems like about 800 years ago, but we didn't communicate, so there wasn't a very good attendance, but I can tell you the people that were there really got a lot out of it. And I knew I'd learned something, but I especially appreciate and respect Chief Jenkins saying that, if you all have open houses, if there's any concern, let us know. That was good to hear. Another interesting piece of news is my intern, who's also the punter at WSU, Oscar Jagisevich, just got his license. And it's funny, I've preached to him about safety, and he doesn't think he's invincible, but he's a pretty tough football player. But he was out in Albion showing a home the other day that it was a vacant house to people he met on Zillow, and he's like, I kind of get what Krista's saying now. So one of the things that we got a grant for every agent in Whitman County is it's an app. It's called Forewarn. So if I get some stranger's name from Zillow with a random phone number, it could be anybody, but I can plug it into this app and it can tell me, all their public records, any criminal history, any kind of bankruptcies. And again, that's not to discriminate. Fair housing is very important to me, but it is just to kind of know, do you need to take some extra precautions? Do you need to, you always should let people know where you are, but do you need to take a buddy kind of thing? So it was good that this football player said, maybe Krista does know what she's talking about. It is scary out there sometimes. And then the last piece of good news is I got tagged to be the Washington State representative, the National Association of Realtors Safety Council. So I'm really excited about that and proud about that, and certainly hope a job representing our wonderful state. But we're always ahead of the game, whether it's fair housing or anything. So I just want to keep pushing us forward. So again, thank you, Chief Jenkins. That's all I have.
Well, congratulations to that, Krista. That's good.
Thank you.
Craig, did you have anything to report for the Pullman at large?
Nothing to report. Look forward to the summit and appreciate Kanitra's statements about being a nervous moderator. So, thank you.
And my tiles just shifted, and I just noticed that Angelo, you are with us. Did you have anything to report for the multicultural?
Nothing to report. Thank you very much for asking.
Okay. And I do not see anybody from GPSA. Don't believe. Kenitra, WSU Black Faculty and Staff Association.
Yes, so I did send out the marketing piece to the BFSA. I also advised to a young group of multicultural students, and I've encouraged them to get involved. The one thing that I would just say is, while I'm excited about the summit, I would really like to understand better how we are capturing this audience. There's a lot of people who just don't know who we are and know about us. So I would like to take that opportunity to grow awareness and really be able to let them know that we are listening. We do want to have that conversation. Earlier this week, there was some communication about what I originally felt when we were doing the summit is we really want to talk about this on a national level, but we can't solve it on a national level. So we have to have the conversation on a localized level. I think that's going to be very important to the summit, is to talk about why we made that selection to do localized, and then how do we grow to be more nationalized. That's all I have.
That is a great point, Kenitra, and we will be sure that we do keep that in the front of our minds when we keep going forward, and making sure that people know how we determine that and what the steps we can do for the actions going forward to hopefully be the model on going national for everything, all the change.
Thank you for that.
Pullman Police Department, Chief Jenkins or Darby, do you have anything else to report?
Darby, do you have anything?
I have absolutely nothing.
And I do not see Oren here for Black Men Making a Difference. Any other reporting for our constituencies?
What about Nathan? Did you have anything to say?
Do we have any public comment at the moment? Oh, I apologize, Nathan. I forgot that you were on the phone.
No, it's okay. I could have jumped in if I wanted to. I don't have anything to add. Thank you, Eric and Stephanie.
Any other comments for the good of the order?
I'll also say congratulations, Krista. That's exciting. Good luck with that.
Thank you. I have another quick question. Darby, are you working from home still?
I am, yes. I try to get in the office like once a week and get the stuff out of my terrifying mailbox, but
it piles up, doesn't it?
It sure does, yes.
Awesome. I'm glad you're safe at home.
Yes, it has been nice. My kids are, they go to school in Potlatch, so they're in school 2 days a week in person and then home 3 days. So it has been nice to be able to kind of juggle all of that.
I have no idea how you parents are doing it.
Neither do we most days.
That's the truth, Darby. That is the truth.
You know, I do have one other thing that might be of interest. You may know that Adam Lincoln, our city administrator, is leaving to go for work at Pasco. His last day is Wednesday. And the mayor announced today that the interim city administrator is going to be Mike Urban, who is our finance director. And then they're going to work on a recruitment after the first of the year.
Great, thank you.
That's good to know.
All right, anything else?
I have one quick question. I know back in the day, I don't know what day that was, but Dr. Macon said that he had an intern that was specifically focused on addressing issues, and that we could give projects or suggestions for projects that could better facilitate Pullman Police Department and the community. Is that still a thing?
Very much so. So Megan's in the process of finishing the background. We actually had a meeting just before this on the community survey. So Chief Jenkins was interested in 2 different instruments, one for general public safety survey, and then one for those that have actual interactions with the police. So she's finalizing that. You know, we'll have something over to him probably around November 1st.
Can we start putting that back on the docket to have conversation around
what that might look like for future projects?
Oh, absolutely. I think we are always, interested. Particularly, I think this is a really great vehicle for just having those types of conversations about projects we would like to foresee. The whole point of the fellowship was really to help, well, for one, have a doctoral student become embedded in these types of data, and then working on answering very specific questions that the chief is interested in. And I think we've been able to make, at least in the first year, we've had some significant progress. And then, of course, we had a little slowdown, COVID, like to be much kind of thinking forward and what we could do going into spring. And that is when the grant season opens up. So the COPS office, there's a lot of micro grants. We've applied for a few, have been unsuccessful. But, eventually they will hit. But yeah, absolutely, I think bringing forward those ideas and really just allowing me to work with Megan. Her dissertation is actually on rural policing and rural public safety, which we don't think of ourselves as being really rural, but in many ways kind of are in terms of how we think about the study of policing. So this just aligns perfectly with what she's trying to become an expert in.
Can we, one, formalize that process, and then two, can she give us a update, or not an update, I need a tutorial on what it means to write grants and what goes into writing a grant, and so that I can start thinking and honing my lens on how to present topics that might benefit all of us. And I think maybe some of the people in the committee could, if we could understand all the decisions and all the writing that goes into it, then we could start forming our questions in a way that would be better answered. Does that make sense?
Oh, it actually absolutely does. So, I don't think that's something that Megan can necessarily do, but I would be more than happy to come in and just walk through the grant process, talk about how to form questions. I also I'm the volunteer research partner for Behavioral Health Board in Idaho, and this is kind of the role that I provide for them, which is helping them identify grants, look at what data they have, figure out how to present their data. And so I'm happy that Chief Jenkins and I have done this probably, half a dozen times already in terms of applying for grants. I'd be more than happy to come in and just walk everyone through that process. And you're right, I think that if, as a group, we're thinking through some of the questions or how to kind of formulate what we might want to pursue grants for, that it only helps streamline writing them because I only have so much time to write, as does Megan. And I do believe that there are a great many here that could work on certain components of a grant, where we could think through the role of the PAC committee in helping the Pullman Police Department write and be very active in grantsmanship. And that was one of the goals I wanted, right? I was very eager to get on the board to be able to help in this regard. But it is something that we're trying to do with the WSU Police Department as well. And I'm also on that board along with Stephanie, where, how can we help the agencies themselves be very successful in obtaining grants? Because so many small agencies depend on them to become innovative. And if we're going to have this summit and we're going to have all these great action items, if we don't have any funds, because the city does not have the funds, we need to be nimble and we need to be able to go after those funds to be able to improve public safety.
Thank you. That would be great. I'd love to learn some new skills. Thank you.
Absolutely. December, January, we'll figure something out, but I'd be happy to do that. The next one's gone. We have the summit. So
it's not gone, David. It's not gone.
But yeah, we couldn't fit that in there as well. But yeah, I'd happy to do that. Just, December, January, February, wherever really works. I will say that end of January is when we get the big release of grant funds. So I know we're going to go after a community policing grant. So that's already on the schedule to reapply and update for that. And then looking at some other grant potentials. So we have some foundations that we're going to be eager to look into.
Thinking about that, David, it might actually be really good for December because we'll have some of the action items coming from the summit that we can then look at what grants are available, prioritizing, looking at the resources. That would be a really good timeline.
Oh, we could absolutely do that. And I think it is unique to think about some of the different constituencies. I'm thinking of Krista talking about the app, also thinking through what other types of technologies or tools could benefit all of us, right? That just improving public safety. There's, if you think about, I've applied for grants at Facebook and Google. There's so many opportunities for funding. We just need to be able to identify what's the problem, what's our solution, how do we get there? And there's a lot of space in that area. And unfortunately, most agencies never apply. I know that Chief Jenkins went to at one of the conferences we're talking about just the limitation that smaller agencies face when trying to apply for grants. They just don't have a team. He doesn't have, you can't just have Darby go write a grant. But he can look to, Megan and I, go ahead, write this. But yeah, if we could streamline it with the committee, I like to think that would be one of our goals, at least one of his goals, is that increasing their grant funding as an actual measurable outcome of their performance and their reimagining what Pullman looks like.
It's a great idea. All right, anything else before we do some closing comments? All right, so our next meeting is going to be November 9th. Instead of our meeting, we are going to have our virtual summit. I will say kindly and gently that it is required for all of our Pullman Police Advisory Committee to attend. So please register. Registration is required. You will get a link in order to join. You have to register. If you have any questions about it, feel free to email any of our subcommittee members, myself or Darby or Chief Jenkins. It is going to be a fantastic summit. We are very much wanting everybody's voice. We are working on the questions that we're going to ask or help lead the moderations of the breakout rooms. That's going to be great. If you have any questions that you would like to see definitely asked, feel free to send me an email. I am collecting several emails already from our marketing that went out, and several things that will address subcommittee of what types of lead questions that we do want to make sure that we ask during the breakouts, especially if we need some questions to get things moving along. But if there's any questions that you would like for sure asked, please make sure you send me an email or Darby an email, either one of us. We will keep everything anonymous, so feel free to send us your comments and thoughts. But in the meantime, please make sure you are registered to attend, and we will see you on November 9th. And our subcommittee will be meeting regularly, and we're going to be having 2 different training sessions for the moderation. So if you signed up for the moderating, I will add you to those. Those are going to be 2 hours in length. You do not have to attend the both 2 hours. It's just a come and go. I will be there the entire time helping everybody out. If you cannot make the 2, please send me a message and I will meet with you one-on-one for that. But anything last moment? If not, have a wonderful October, and we will see you November 9th at our virtual summit. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.